I had an old friend I was corresponding with that wrote me a letter once that said, those of us that are truly passionate about improving our cattle do what we can in a short span of a lifetime. My years spent breeding cattle is a freedom that I cherish for more years than I can think of. Always look forward to that next calf crop. Usually I'm already thinking a year or more ahead of that in terms of what I'm trying to achieve with the next breeding season. My interest in genetic selection started at a very young age. I remember being on the edge of conversations which were often about which cows were doing a good job and which cows weren't. My grandmother was very much in the middle of those discussions often because she had the memory to retain which cows had produced the best calves year after year, and that helped sharpen my interest in comparing performance and production traits in cattle. My uncles and my grandparents all farmed and were able to provide a very good livelihood for their families, and were able to buy farms and pay for them with production from primarily their cattle operations. And so when I was 8 or 10 or 12, that seemed like an obvious way for me to go, but by the time I became a young adult, I realized that it was becoming more and more difficult. Higher land prices and higher input costs. There's a volatility in markets, and that the margins are going to be tight most of the time. It did not stop my determination to make it work. My passion grew stronger. At one point I thought I might end up being a diesel mechanic. I like equipment, but I never could get very far from the cow side of things. It always was drawing me back. What became apparent fairly early on is the cost of production is one of the biggest hurdles to get past. The highest cost involved in the production of beef cattle is feed. The GrowSafe system really was a breakthrough from a standpoint that they could electronically identify those animals as they were eating at the feed bunk. Being able to utilize the data that's captured with the GrowSafe equipment, we can more efficiently utilize resources year in and year out. And where that really has more momentum is when we're able to do generation turnover that includes that as part of our selection criteria. I used to think that I had a pretty good idea of what efficient cattle looked like. At times, I can remember having a young bull that I really had high hopes for to find out that they were drastically inefficient. And the initial response is frustrating, but I realized how fortunate I am that I figured out how inefficient they were before I had 2 or 3 generations of their progeny on the ground to deal with. And if I can eliminate them from my program, I can make the fastest progress moving my entire program into a population of more efficient cattle. I've been very fortunate to be able to stay within the same shadows of where I grew up and stay in an industry that I've loved and had a passion for. When I produce seed stock that go out into the mainstream commercial industry, the intent is to be able to sell folks bulls that will help improve their bottom line, that will make their operations profitable, and will help keep them in business. I feel that more than just an opportunity for me, I really feel like it's an obligation, because I recognize that it is a very short window of time that you have an ability to make a difference.